Pickaxe.
Damn, that night sky is beautiful, isn't it, Xander?
It really is, man. There's a lot of stuff I miss about LA, but not seeing the stars every night isn't one of them.
You know what I miss? Shaving properly. Like, I know my beard has been filling in magnificently out here, but I feel under-groomed, you know?
Do you even have facial hair as a dragon?
I just miss Manscaped. They sponsored me once and I gave them a shot, and now I won't use anything else. They honestly made everything easier.
You know, I actually heard they might be more than a grooming company.
What do you mean?
Like, they got into making manscaping products like all the stuff in the Performance Package 4.0, so they could start sharing their secrets. But they're really indoctrinating people into their secret society of well-groomed immortals. I mean, you use this stuff. You know how good it is. It's practically impossible to not want to keep using it. And that's how you get in.
Well, I guess I can see what you mean. When I use the Lawnmower 4.0 to trim everything up, the Weed Whacker for cleaning up my nose and ear hairs, the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, their Crop Reviver Toner, and then throw on the Performance Boxer Briefs that they give everyone for free in the Performance Package, I feel about 20 years younger. I'm positively a spring chicken. Like, it feels like I'm back in high school again sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. I think they have some sort of attachment to the Fountain of Youth or something, because every person I've met feels the same. They're just so trimmed up and looking nice.
And the fact that the lawnmower is waterproof, it reduced the risks of nicks, ingrown hairs, and other grooming accidents means I'm spending less time grooming and more time on whatever I need to do in the morning. I haven't had that much free time in my mornings since I was a kid. You might be onto something with this Fountain of Youth thing.
I'm glad you agree. I haven't really been able to talk about this in depth with anyone since I started formulating the idea, so I'm glad you mentioned it. Hey, I might regret asking this. What's the ball deodorant for?
Oh, it's like, I feel like it's kind of obvious. Like, what is normal deodorant for?
I've never been sure.
I'm just gonna gloss over that for now. But you use the ball deodorant and the toner, and it keeps you feeling fresh and clean all frickin' day.
Hey, you know, we've been spending a lot of time in non-air-conditioned environments this last month. We could probably all use a little bit of that.
You can say that again.
Oh, yo, you know what the craziest part about my theory is? They've got interplanar advertising, so I know they're onto something crazy. Here, check it out. I found this message on my camera this morning.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CASTPARTY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code CASTPARTY. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Crazy, right? Think the free shipping counts in Fendraeya?
Oh man, we gotta get home fast. I need another pair of those boxers.
Code CASTPARTY for 20% off and free shipping.
Hello everyone and welcome to Fables of Fendraeya, Wyldacre. My name is Jose Polino, or at DM Jose P, and I will be your director for today's Pie Extravaganza. I am joined by my lovely cast and crew of fantastic Fae misfits, so we'll go ahead and begin with Ryan.
Hi, Ryan McManus, and I'll be playing Fiffin, the Maker Taker Hater Satyr. You can find me on my personals at Ryan.McManus or running the Cast Party socials at CastPartyDND.
Nigel.
Hello, Nigel Deacon, playing Pond, your favorite froggy friend, hopefully finding a future family. You can find me at Nigel Sucks LMAO on every social that matters.
Betty.
Hi, my name is Betty Kay. I play Quinn, the mighty owlin who is as righteous as she is small. You can find me at who.the.lovely on TikTok and Instagram.
And finally, we have Seth.
Hey everybody, I am Seth. I am playing Cheese the Dog, Shadow Monk, and Gloomstalker Ranger. You can find me at Noctopus on TikTok and now on Instagram at Knock.topus.
Hey, new link just dropped.
Love it. Love it.
Let me get that follow going because I forgot to do it earlier.
So the last time we all convened upon our fabulous Fey realm, you all stumbled upon a group of what could be easily described as southern fairies that are very excited about a pie-eating celebration of their own as they're seemingly also making their way towards the Festival of Tres. With that, you all were shrunken as you guys perched yourselves on top of a tree, and that is essentially a form of commute. This fairy that seems to be running this group, this clan, if you will, of fairies by the name of Mikilias Twinklehope, is sort of very welcoming to you all, but more interested with the baby. As Quinn essentially heard that, you know, if you required or wanted more information regarding said baby, to simply just go meet with him in his private quarters. As all of that was happening, Pond went ahead and actually got some nice sort of like introduction to some members of a band. You yourself, being musically inclined, were sort of invited to show your skills. Then with that, you all sort of gathered yourselves, enjoyed some pie. Cheese, you felt some of the effects as you yourself became very light as a feather, turning in different colors, seeing different shapes. Essentially, you guys were tripping hard on these pies. But it all seemed very fun. You all then chose to head up towards the highest sort of tree house, right up towards the canopy of it. You guys are heading up to this very small kind of makeshift wooden little home that has like a flame coming from within, like a warm, inviting fire. The evening is yours. What would you like to do?
We're sure we're okay to do this?
Mikilias is just one guy. If he ends up being a problem, I think we could, how do you say it, do the bonking?
I think too, we don't know anything about Floor. We really don't. I mean, we think we do, and then he turns into rocks. So I think Mikilias can give us answers we can't find otherwise, and then we can bonk him after we get answers.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, I don't really know what else we can do, you know? And he's been nothing but helpful so far, so I don't see why not. Why we can't trust him, right?
He hasn't given us a reason not to, so.
Right.
Cheese is gonna, I guess, headbutt the door. Like a running leap at it.
Cheese, no! Cheese!
That's my one. I only got one of those.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I just need to walk it off.
Okay.
You hear from inside,
1 second? Just 1 second. Just go ahead and give me a little bit to tidy up. I'll be right out. I'll be right there with you.
but you hear the sounds of like, almost like metal hitting stone floor. You hear the sounds of like a roaring flame. A cavalcade of sounds coming from within. There stands Mikilias, putting on a very sort of like leisure-like robe. Thank you so much for coming to meet with me. And he looks around without making eye contact. He goes, come on in.
I'm going in.
Go in.
Thank you.
You see before you an empty home. A couple of pillows on the floor, surrounded by a small circular table. All around the shack essentially just looks like what you would think a birdhouse looks like. We envision what, birds will do inside, but it's just a blank little 4-wall system with a roof, and that's it. But from the walls, there is this light that emerges from it, giving the general atmosphere of a very warm, almost like sitting by a fireplace. The walls, the colors gently shift. All right then, well, pleasure having you, and then closes the door. All right, now listen, we don't have necessarily, as we would consider in your terms, much time, but I would like to ask you a couple of questions, as this does pertain to the safety of my individuals as well as perhaps the safety of yours. So please, take a seat.
Now, Mikilias, from one, I guess, inventor to another, I heard a lot of machinery from outside. I don't see any machinery. I don't see a fire. I don't see nothing. Explain?
Well, why so interested?
maybe I want to use said things, or converse about said things that you have created.
Ah, all right, there we go. That's a little bit more welcoming right there. Who's to say I was gonna let you touch any of my stuff? And he just goes up to the wall and almost like a curtain pulls it back. It sort of like stretches into hallways that go on for miles, it seems.
Whoa.
And it's just like an interconnecting, almost like a hoarding situation where there is small shrunken down weapons, there's like rocks and stones, there's what look like sugar cubes that have just been like blown up to a bigger size. And it's just a collection of items throughout the space. Take your pick. I'm still trying to wrap my head around most of them, but these are just things that we find, which leads to my interest on the thing that it seems you have found. The little baby thing.
Where do you find these things?
Well, these things are given to me. These things are brought to me by my folks. They just kind of head on out. They traversed all throughout Wyldacre, and whatever little interesting things they are able to collect from people, from portals opening in the middle of nowhere, from the bottom of the sea to the highest point in the sky. They bring them to me, and then I just keep them.
Like the two people that tried to mug us.
Right, see, that's the problem, is that there are certain individuals that take this task a little bit too personal, and they believe that they get to keep these things for a betterment of the soul or whatever it is you want to think about. Whereas I like to collect them, and the people that respect what I'm doing, for the sake of knowledge. We fairy folk are very simple creatures. I mean, hell, we are eating ourselves away in pie right underneath this branch. And we don't really ask for much. But I will say, I am a very curious individual. Incredibly curious. And I'm just being upfront with you. None of you know me. We've only just met. I provided you some form of sanctuary amongst our festival. I don't know what kind of problems or tricks you all have up your sleeves. So I think this is just a very amicable coming together for the sake of information. Henceforth, the curiosity conversation.
Of course.
We don't mean to sound so accusatory, Mikilias. It's just, it's hard to find a lot of people we can trust out here.
That's fine. You shouldn't trust anybody.
So you understand why we ask you all these questions.
Well, no, but you can trust me.
Okay, well...
That's a little contradictory, but okay.
All I'm saying is live your life comfortable, secluded, closed off from everybody, and then take your pick on who you choose. You can choose to trust me because I'm letting you pierce behind the veil, if you will. And then he lets go of the curtain, and the curtain sort of comes down and becomes a faux wall, if you will.
I mean, the last thing we trusted tried to eat us, but I don't think you could do that.
And perhaps I can. You don't know.
You're not making your case a lot better.
And you're a talking animal.
Is that really the weirdest thing about this?
Like half of us are talking animals. That's this entire group of people.
I'd even say 3.5 of us.
Fiffin shakes his little goat butt.
We are just trying to get to the Archfey, and we don't want trouble. We don't know much about Floor, the baby.
Oh, you named it?
We, no, we didn't. Nope, I was just it's on the floor. I set the pot down on the ground.
Don't trust anybody. See what I mean? Right there. Good practice.
Yep, yes.
I must be frank with you. Possibly not the best thing for you to be holding on to that little creature, no matter how adorable it may seem. And look, let's be frank, within a couple of hours, perhaps you won't even have to worry about the baby anymore. The Japs is just going to take all over it. But if I may be so bold to say, there is perhaps a sharing of information that can happen. I happen to know something that perhaps could be useful to you all, and perhaps lead you to further understand this creature that you are so fond of, that you happen to name. Just number one, the thing you don't do with any pet. You do not name it if you don't want to keep it, but now you named it, so you're essentially forced to keep it. So let's just begin with this. What do you want to do with this thing?
We were gonna give it to the Archfey as a present.
All right, first mistake.
Why? I'm sorry, I'm very new here. This is my first festival.
First festival of trays? Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, all of them. All of everything.
Completely understood. How should I put this? To me, this is a very daily occurrence. This is my life. This is how I experience things, and I just consider them mundane and boring to some degree. But to you, they're quite captivating. I'll just tell you this. Pond was the name?
Yes. Pleasure to meet you.
We fairies don't really like the Archfey all that much. We don't necessarily say for the lack of intellect in the next sentence I'm about to say. We don't trust the Archfey. But that extends apart from the general mistrust you should have about everyone.
Why are you going to the festival then anyway?
Why are you taking the baby to the Archfey?
Did we just answered that? What?
It's what you do. It's part of the festival. You go to the Archfey, you give them a thing.
Oh, you're gonna offer the baby as a present to the Archfey?
Yeah, that.
Yes.
That, and we think that they'll know what to do about it.
Right.
Right. That's good. I like that. But I don't. But I like that.
Why don't you trust the Archfey, though? Are they dangerous? Are they good people?
The way he's talking, it's all like not letting you see truly to what he's saying. He's presenting a facade, and it's very obvious. Well, I guess you can say we don't care for the Archfey all that much. I guess we don't particularly like the Archfey and all the things he's done. Perhaps all the things he's done to fairy folk. So it could be a personal thing, personal bias. But at the end of the day, if you want to give it to the Archfey, you want to give it to the Archfey. I'm just saying, if you give that thing to the Archfey, you're not going to see that baby again.
I think that was kind of the plan.
But like in a good way or a bad way?
I think in a bad way.
Are they gonna eat it? Because that's what we used to do.
You were gonna eat the baby?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't going to now. But
now?
I didn't know. I didn't know it was a baby.
And he kind of like looks at all of you, and he points over at Pond, and he goes, "Now this one, I like this one."
He grows on you real quick.
Thank you, Mikilias. You're very confusing.
My life is a series of puzzles that I'm constantly trying to solve. Thank you very much.
Mikilias, what information is there to exchange? You say you have some kind of key, some answer for us, but there's obviously something you want from us. So what is it?
I'm incredibly scared for all of you, even though my handsome devilish face says otherwise. But I'm also intrigued. As I said, I'm a man of curiosity, so perhaps we can do a trade. I will tell you where that baby came from, and in turn, you perhaps offer one of your finest gifts to me. Seems like an even trade.
See, you just said not to trust anyone ever, so I'm inclined not to trust that.
And now we have what we call an interesting conversation.
How do you know where the baby would have come from? He just appeared here.
But the baby was dropped off in town, was it not?
How do you know about town?
All I'm saying is I got some information, and it looks like the four of you are quite interesting individuals that probably have some quite interesting things, and perhaps we can offer a trade.
Do you remember? Do you know someone named Haw?
Haw?
Hee-haw?
But he doesn't like being called that. He's a big bird person.
Oh yeah, I heard of that hee-haw fella walking around with some other creatures of the sort, looking for that baby, right?
That they were.
I mentioned at the beginning, I was worried about your safety. You stumbled upon my folks, and now I'm worried about their safety as well, as long as that baby remains on this tree here. We are all in some great danger. I don't even know who these individuals are, but I've heard of their questionable pursuits of this baby from place to place. But how about this? How about I go get my trade, and you talk amongst yourselves what you're willing to trade me. How about that?
It's a physical thing.
It is physical.
Information's usually not physical, Mikilias. That's why you can see why we're a little confused, a little concerned.
And what did I say at the beginning of this conversation?
Don't even remember.
Don't trust anybody.
Oh, okay.
Real quick, are we working on a solution for the Jasper?
He looks at you, Pond, and he says, the Jasper truly is something that we're focused on. And his facade kind of drops a bit. And then he looks over to you, Quinn, and he says, I merely play. I will get some information. All I ask is for something in return. It's just how I am wired. I appreciate a trading of sorts. I just need to get this individual, and then we will have a honest conversation. Does that sound fine?
Fine.
You watch as he perks himself up, and he opens the door. Oh, Theric! And he flies away.
We're running out of stuff to give people.
I can make something, but it's not gonna be big. I'm talking like I can add a fart noise to a spoon. Like that's all I got right now.
I
we don't have any... I mean, I'm trying to remember. We don't have any valuable information.
Do you think he'd take memories?
Do you think he'd take a song and dance number?
A little tap dance?
Choreographed dance with soundtrack by Pond.
Yes, I think he would.
That's all I got right now.
Okay.
I think, Cheese, you might have been onto something. I think he would take a memory. I don't think you would get it back.
Yeah. That's the sacrifice, right? It's for the mission.
If you don't want to do it, I can offer up mine. There's a lot I'd like to forget.
Oh, the baby thing?
Among other things, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think we try the tap number first.
All right, we'll start with plan A and we'll go down to like plan D.
You hear the sound of shimmering of the wings as it's beginning to get a little closer.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Pond, are you okay with... I don't want to push you into doing something you don't want to do, but I think if it's as simple as a song...
I can do that. I mean, worst case scenario, I could play it from this thing, and I hold up the tape recorder.
True.
The one with Shatter in it?
Well, there's the other songs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm still not 100% certain what this thing is, but I'm ready to start using it.
As you hear talking,
No fear. We're just gonna ask a couple questions, that's all.
and then you see the familiar visage of Mikilias with Theric, the fairy that essentially was kind of helping you, avoiding getting mugged. And you watch as the firelight wall pattern diminishes. It becomes a little bit more still. And Mikilias comes in. He goes, "All right, everyone, you ready?"
Are you ready?
"Oh, I am."
You shouldn't be.
Theric kind of steps inside and he goes, "Now, is it gonna be all right for me to just kind of stand in here, Mr. Twinklehope? Mikilias? Theric, my boy, you can call me whatever you like. You go ahead and take a seat. We're gonna be presented with something very special, and then perhaps we'll go ahead and talk about the thing that we were talking about earlier, all right?" Theric sheepishly goes, "Oh, all right. Oh, that sounds mighty fine to me." And then Mikilias claps his hands and he looks at you and he goes, "All right. What are you presenting to me on this fine evening?"
Well, how do we decide who goes first?
"Well, you do, because you are interested in what I have for you."
Fine.
Question. With the intent of using it more for flavor than anything, would you let me cast a spell that has technically a 10-minute casting time?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, everyone, take a seat and have an open mind, please.
You watch as Mikilias flies to one of the bigger cushions and he sits down, crisscross with a look of genuine joy. Pats on the floor for Theric to come, and Theric, still in that sheepish form, comes over and he sits down. He grabs him by the shoulder and he goes, "Now you watch here."
Pond will take out the lyre, start playing a tune that's mildly haunting, but still beautiful, and casts hallucinatory terrain. The whole room takes on this appearance of almost like the inside of a longhouse, if you're familiar with like the Native American longhouses, where it's like wooden thatched roof. There's just rows of other grung that are sitting up on bleachers, and they're all humming the same metronomic beat. Pond starts singing in his froggy way one of the songs of his people. This is what it sounds like to be a grung during a funeral.
Go ahead, Pond, and give me a performance check.
27. How I picture the grung funeral specifically from Pond's village is that like they have this kind of like longhouse that is where the royals or like the higher ups in the village live. They have a table that goes along down the center of it. That's usually where they hold feasts and things. But laid down on the table today are just caught fireflies that are like in jars, just lining along the table, and in the center is the body of one of the fallen either warriors or royals that's just covered over with moss as everyone sings and just mourns together until the song is over. Like I said, it's like hauntingly beautiful. It's dark, it's mellow, it's spooky, and this one in particular is a depiction of Pond's friend who got hurt in a fight
and ended up passing away from his wounds.
You watch as Mikilias stands up within the space. Curiosity meets control as he just looks around and he goes, "What is this exactly, Bon?"
It's, my best friend's funeral from back home.
You watch as he walks the longhouse, taking in everything, passes his hand through the other creatures, but he's being very careful and delicate about the way he's doing it. You are offering pain.
More of an important experience. This is something that I wish no one had to deal with it, but most people will have to deal with it someday.
So if it's an experience, and you're all meant to at some point in your lives come across said experience, why don't you let the Jasper just take the baby?
Well, like I said, I don't want anyone to have to experience it. It's so young. I don't want to experience it with this new friend of ours.
But do you know the possibilities of what happens after this point?
No.
Neither do I. But this is acceptable. I like it. It's, pretty traumatizing, but in a good way. I am sorry about your friend.
We knew what he was getting into. He's with the rest of the family now.
During this whole moment, as Mikilias is walking around and having this conversation with you, Theric, his eyes are fixed on the baby. Sir, exactly why am I here? Right. Thank you, Pon. This was a little bit more heavier than I thought. I thought a simple treat or something would have sufficed, but this is good.
I could have given them the fruit.
Theric, you've seen this baby before? Well, yeah, sure. I saw it the one time when I was helping them against Helios and the other ones. But that's the only time I've seen this baby. The only time? Are you sure of that? Yes, as much as I can remember, this is the only time I've ever seen this baby. Very well, son. I appreciate that. Pats him on the shoulder, and Theric instantly drops to like a sleeping position as his head hangs over his shoulders and he just kind of sits in the spot. And Mikilias looks at all of you and he says, "Theric here was the one who delivered this baby to town. Now you have to be careful with him. His mind is still in what we would call some form of recovery. He came to us very scared, at the point of dying. That creature that you're speaking about, that Hee-Haw and those other folks, they got to him, and they got to him good. And he kept on spewing all about an omen, and Zymus were the only names he kept on blabbering on about. And each one of us would look to him as we were trying to patch up those wounds, and he would just scream and scream and scream that they were gonna get him. We tried our best to understand exactly what it was that happened, but all he managed to tell us was simple. He delivered something to town, and some people were after him. You have to understand is this. Sure, there's a couple of individuals that are following this baby, and perhaps your safety's on the line, and potentially the safety of every single fairy up in this tree. But the thing is, how well-versed are all of you in fairy culture?
Almost not at all.
Not the slightest.
I know there's pie.
Well, you see, in our fairy culture, the way in which we perceive things and take things in, they're through experiences and tales, and the interweaving of not understanding which ones are true and which ones are not. But they're all just, as you said, Pon, experiences. In fairy culture, an omen is not this, superficial message of doom. For us fairies, an omen pertains to an individual, a devil-like creature, born from the 9 hells and all that scary stuff. 3 heads that is hungry for power. After, as the tales go, some great injustice befell this omen. Now that does seem pretty heavy. Now we've never encountered anything like this, but for Theric here to be mentioning an omen, that's, I don't think perhaps it pertains to the devil itself, but perhaps something that was after him. So that is what information I am telling you, that the thing that you are holding in your hands could potentially be inviting the devil himself upon our lands.
Ooh, okay.
And in regards to your conversation about the Archfey, if we're all being nice and open about our trauma, we don't care too much for the Archfey. We find them a little too chaotic for our taste. See, the Archfey has a lot of tendencies that we fairies used to indulge in, but these days we tend to really just live our lives the way we see fit.
It sounds like everybody else really respects the Archfey.
Well, some do. The way in which we fairies behave, we behave based on stories and tales of past generations, future generations, perhaps visions we have at night. But then other people perhaps are experiencing the Archfey entirely in their own fashion. The only reason we're going to the Festival of Trays is to show face, that's it.
Question for you and or Theric. Why town, of all places? Were you just trying to get rid of it? To save yourself from the group that Zymus had sent? Or was that the intention all along? To drop it in town?
We don't know. Theric here is part of our elite group of individuals that sometimes tend to stray away a little bit from the clan in order to sort of understand the world around him. The thing is that Theric had gone missing for a couple of days. The next time we saw Theric, he was all kinds of trouble. He was spewing off hee-haws and screams and gurgling on his own fairy blood. But we patched him up real good. He's doing all right just now, but the mind of his is a little torn. Don't know why town, don't know why you, don't know why any of this is even connected, if it is connected. Seems like a mystery for somebody else to solve. And the best way to solve the mystery for you lot is to just simply get rid of the thing.
Get rid of it for someone else to bring the devil into the world?
Well, now, I mean, if you believe in such tales to bring the devil upon the lands of Wyldacre, the devil would be the least of your problems.
Say this omen is true, though. Who better to deal with the devil himself than the Archfey?
Can I show you something? You watch as he taps on Theric's shoulder again, and Theric gets up. And as soon as Theric gets up, he goes, "Oh, omen! Zymus, coming for me? Are they coming for me? You keep me safe, right, Mikilias?" I will, son. All of us here will keep you safe. Head on down there and eat some pie. Let your worries just fade away. Okay. I couldn't leave the baby just lying there. You know that, right, Mikilias? I did not know that, but I am thankful for that. You show great bravery, Theric. That's why I keep you so close. Thank you, and to all of you, have a good day. Very fast, tries to exit the room. The door opens and Theric leaves. Mikilias points at his head. Mine's very fragile. And he waves his hand across the room, like before, where the walls are not necessarily walls, but these curtains that are projecting an image. You watch as the curtains wave in and out. As they do, you see it begins to take shape all around you, almost like you're hallucinatory terrain. And it becomes a wooded glen, filled with purple and pink fireflies, all kinds of fey creatures. And there, in the center of the room, or where the cushions were, there's a circle of about 6 or 7 fairies. This is why we don't trust the Archfey. You watch as the fairies that are sort of clustered around are bouncing against each other like a little orb of light. And it's all very playful. It's these balls of concentrated energy that trail off in this like sparkly wonder. And they're just playing ball with it. But when they take it, they stretch it and they form like a butterfly. And then they bring it back like putty. And then they toss it to the next fairy. And the next fairy gets it and creates what looks almost like a snake with wings. And then brings it down. But as you're watching in the space, there are these eyes. 3 sets of eyes lingering in the darkness. And they're looking at the fairies. And Mikilias says, It's been said through history, we fairies are meant to fear the Archfey. More than possibly anything else. You watch as the three eyes now separate and become almost like individual entities. Shrouded in darkness, you can't really even make out the details, but there is something there. The three figures begin to spread around the glen, fixated on the fairies in the center. As they throw this ball of energy, they look and sort of get quiet and hold on to the ball. Mikilias says, "Some say the Archfey is consumed with a lust for understanding." And you watch as one fairy looks, this like black hand with red, almost like veins, reaches out from the shadows and grabs one of the fairies and pulls it into the darkness. Some say he was driven by boredom to a point of no return. From underneath the ground, very much in a fashion that you've seen, Cheese, these hands come up and clutch the fairies and bring them down into the darkness within. Now, I wouldn't say perhaps this is essentially how it happened, and more the fairies keep getting pulled until one remains alone, clutching this vibrant ball of light that is now sort of pulsing faster and faster. But it is said that the Archfey, you see these two hands sort of come up and grab onto the fairy's wings. The Archfey once ripped the wings of a fairy just to see if that's what made it special. And just as the stretching begins to happen of the wings, the vision fades. Now you can possibly understand my disillusionment with the Archfey. There is a lot of history there that I perhaps would rather not repeat itself amongst my people. But I will say this. There is hope for the Archfey. It is said that the Archfey's right hand, this individual which doesn't tend to show their face all that often, now that individual is full of compassion, has a right mind, dedicated himself to the true word of the people of Wyldacre. So I like to believe that perhaps with this individual, by the right hand of the Archfey, perhaps some change can be done. But as far as I'm concerned, that is the only individual I trust.
Do you know what their name is?
No idea.
Have you seen evidence of their good doings in Wyldacre?
Yes. The festival.
How so?
Festival was created by the right hand of the Archfey to subdue the Archfey's lust for knowledge and interest. Better to have the individuals bring the prizes to the Archfey than the Archfey go out and find it for himself.
So everyone is just sort of sating the beast, basically.
But you have choices, I guess. You can either leave the baby here, let the Jasper take over. This will all be just a memory, a conversation we had in passing on our way to the festival. Give the baby to the Archfey, and who knows what will happen after that. Or perhaps you give it to somebody else. Perhaps you give it to the right hand of the Archfey.
Now, how powerful would you say this right hand is compared to said Archfey?
I think about comparable. I don't think the Archfey would just choose anybody to stand at his side if it wasn't someone that the Archfey could perhaps see as an equal.
I figured as much. If we're potentially bringing the devil to Wyldacre, might be good to have it in the hands of someone who is kind-hearted.
I mean, I don't think any scenario ends with us letting the baby be taken by Jasper.
That's good. That's good. Then perhaps it was fitting that this baby should stumble upon your hands then. Oh, which, by the way, that reminds me. Hold up. I must get the remedy for the Jasper. Give me 1 second.
Do any of you know of a way to leave Wyldacre?
Not that I know of.
We know it's possible to go in and out.
I've seen so many people come, I haven't seen people leave. Then again, I haven't really tried, so I'm not sure.
It doesn't feel like there's a good option for Floor. Every option seems to end with Floor just being taken by something. And I thought that it would be good to give them as a gift to the Archfey, but now the Archfey is scary, and Floor is bringing the devil, and it's just everything is bad.
So you're saying, Pond, potentially send him away where the Archfey can't reach him, and where the magic here isn't messing with his psychological growth.
Knowing how strong the Archfey is, if he really wanted Floor, he could probably just take them. But what Guillermo said to us about how him being here is not good, and that it probably can't last that long, even if it's just to make it so that he doesn't explode with magic or something. Just getting him out of here might be the best way to do it, you know?
If anyone knows of a way to get out of Wyldacre, I think it would be this right-hand person.
Especially if he's looking to do good across Wyldacre. I mean, if the Archfey is just in it for kind of the gluttony and the gifts and such, maybe it's not the best idea to give it to him, but we can use it as an excuse to get close to the right hand by still going to the festival with Floor in tow. And then if we can get a word in with the right hand, maybe explain the situation, that the devil is upon us and the world is going to end, I think that's enough, right?
That sounds like a plan to me.
Are you guys sure that babies are a good thing? Like, it was bad that I was eating them? Because, I mean, this one seems to be bringing a lot of horror.
If all those other babies that you ate could do this, I don't think there'd be any grungs left.
You're kind of making my point seem like I should just eat the baby. Are babies dangerous?
I don't think every baby is like Floor. Obviously, Floor is special.
Yeah, I guess.
And we still don't understand what the bad guys were doing in town and why they wanted the baby, or where Theric found the baby in the first place.
Or why he even dragged it to town to begin with.
Who Zymus works for, or what his aims and ambitions are.
Yeah, who the heck is that?
I had half a mind to ask Theric, but Theric did not have half a mind to answer me, so... I think we de-Jasper Floor and continue.
Ride it out with the fairies and eat some pie.
This is a lot to take in, and my doggy brain is sort of busting at the seams here.
How about instead you take in a lot of pie?
That's what I was getting at. Yeah, let's fix this Jasper situation and then get some pie. I think all plans lead to de-Jaspering and pie.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Oh, hey, speaking of busting, do you get excited when you say walk?
A jolt of electricity just goes through him. Okay, look, words are important, okay? Don't say something unless you're gonna act on it.
We can go for a walk anytime you want.
After a short time, you hear the same sort of like twinkling of the wings as Mikilias lands at the foot of the door. And when he arrives, he's holding what looks like a small bottle with what looks like 3 little spouts. All right, now, this is as much as we could make in the short time, but it should put a stopper to Floor's condition with the Jasper. It's a simple tonic. It'll allow him to shake off these pieces of stone, but with some time. That's the thing, though. Remember, you must give the baby a sip for the next 3 days in order for the entirety of the Jasper to go away. You miss a day, you have to start from scratch.
A sip for the next 3 days.
Correct.
How many days worth of sips do we have?
3.
Well,
so there is no messing up then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, does it matter what time we give him the sip?
No, not at all.
Okay.
The liquid reacts in an interesting fashion to a new horizon. And Wyldacre is just full of them. So whenever the light grazes those rosy cheeks of that little one, that's probably a good time.
Okay.
Let's get one going now.
First sip down the hatch.
You take the bottle, and they're all corked. You take out one of them, and this like reddish smoke emits from it. The liquid itself that you're holding is shifting in colors, and it naturally begins to sort of flow in the direction of Floor.
Say we get Floor where he needs to go to said festival. Would you recommend we send him back to where he came, or do you have a recommendation on where he should go? Because we have a plan. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have a plan.
It's a good plan.
It's a great plan.
One that we definitely worked out entirely.
Since we got Floor, I was just curious if you had a recommendation.
Well, you know, I would probably say, yeah. No offense, and looks over to Cheese. That one ain't meant to be here either. And I don't think you either, and looks to you, Pond.
Accurate.
Yeah, they kind of, not as much as Floor did, but they kind of popped up here too. Don't quite know how, don't quite know where. And now they're with us. How do we get them home?
Well, we can put at least mine on the back burner for a little bit. I don't think I'm about to summon the devil.
You do some kind of spooky things.
Oh, they're nice.
They?
Time out! Time out!
Mikilias, he looks and says, well, I would have no idea as to how to return you all to wherever it is that you're from. Well, one, we're delighted you're here in Wyldacre. Two, how is your mind doing?
Peachy.
Looks to you, Cheese.
Yeah, I think actually the problem is that my mind's too right now, and I do want some more pie.
All right. Well, then go ahead and enjoy pie. And then Quinn, you hear in your head, you know that these individuals spend some time here. Their mind is just as fragile as this baby. Sure, they have an understanding of their situation. They're able to speak on it. But the more time they spend here, the more that line between reality and a simple fairy tale is going to be drawn very thin. So pie it is then.
Pie.
I hope all of you can go ahead, enjoy some pie. And I believe you will have a performance that you have to get to. Man, Rito sure is going to be happy to see you.
Oh, God. Oh, I forgot.
Just don't show them any of that trauma stuff. If you make anything appear, just make it be like lights and fun things, all right? We ain't looking to have another one of those things again. Thank you all. Best of luck. Here's the floor.
To Floor.
To Floor.
To Floor.
Mikilias walks over to the door and he holds it open. And he looks at you, Fiffin. If you are interested in perhaps looking at any of the fun things that I have in here, you're more than welcome to do so, by the way.
I might take you up on that before we leave.
And from down below, you hear the sounds of festival music, instruments beginning to sort of tune themselves. But you are all ushered out of the home. What lays before you is the festival.
Before we leave, I want to look back to Mikilias. I don't know if he can hear me when I think, but I want to think at him. Like I'm talking to him like he was talking to me. Thank you for your help and for the advice, Mikilias.
He just nods in your direction as you're exiting out.
Should we keep Floor with us?
We can lock him in the cab, I think, still, can't we?
Yeah, it's huge. It's like his own personal mansion. We could sleep there too. I think Cheese said that already, so I'm just taking credit for something she's already said. But, you know.
Okay. I have to prepare for a performance. Just see dread, like, over his face.
So you're all heading back down to the sort of like central hub of the crown of the tree where the Pie Me Up festival is happening.
Grab a table and watch our boy Pond. Grab a table as close to the band as possible.
There is a lot more tables that have come out, and there is actually a lot more fairies now, but there is a mixture now. On the branches, there are the fairies that you saw earlier, a lot of fairies that are still sitting in their particular spaces still, indulging in pie. But on the branches, there are fairies, there are more fireflies, and there are certain other creatures. You look over to the other side and you see what looks like a very long kind of snake and this purple-like scales with these like pinkish wings. And it's clutching the tree bark. And they're all just sort of like, just amalgamation of all different kinds of creatures. But in the band, there now sort of stands the same group that you saw, but leaving the center open. One of the fairies looks over to you, Pond, and says, "Hey, look, Rito's not here yet, so if you want to take some time to practice, now will be the time.
Okay. That'll be okay. Everything's great. Everything is so good.
He's just nervously, like, picking at his lyre quietly.
And he does that, like, coach thing where he just, like, slaps your back.
No, don't touch me!
He slaps your back, and he goes, there you go. That's some encouraging words. What happens if somebody touches you?
They need to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, no. No, don't do this to Pond.
It's a 15.
They only need a 12. They're good.
Is there anything I would say that sort of physically happens when somebody touches you? Like, is there any sort of like residue to the skin? You know what I mean? Is it like...
I think he would experience at least a little bit of irritation on the hand.
Sure.
If you got like brief hives on your hand.
Takes his hand back and he goes, oh man, not my playing hand.
I'm sorry.
It's quite all right. You're an interesting individual and we like that.
Thank you.
As Pond is plucking and tuning up and getting ready, doing a bit of a sound check, what are the rest of you doing?
Finding a table, right? Somewhere close by. Doing some stretches.
Should we have a game plan for how we tackle this pie contest so we can get our stuff back and some more prizes potentially? We had our throw up stomach, but now he's performing. So,
oh yeah.
I'm wondering if do we just all go at it, give it our best? Or are we trying to be sneaky with this?
I'm gonna fully admit I'm very scared to eat the pie.
It's pretty great,
Seeing what it did to cheese was interesting.
but I'm alive. The pie didn't take me.
Yet. And that's what I'm worried about.
How many did you eat, Cheese?
I only had the one. Pond had a little bit of everybody's.
I didn't even get to my pie because we had to go talk to Mikilias, so... Damn it, I paid for those.
Pond, you're playing with your lyre, you said?
Uh-huh.
I'll say that as you guys are sort of having this conversation and Pond, you're tuning up, you hear some of the other fairies in the band just kind of go like, hey, he's arrived. I heard he's here. Hey, keep an eye out, all right? Look to the skies, eh? Sure enough, in a very extravagant fashion, comes this bird person in a way, resembling very much that of a cockatoo, with their feathers on top of their head, fully sort of like out, and each one is a very different shade of blue. The entire body is adorned in this vest that seems to have like stones and rinds. The bottom part, what essentially would be like pants, is actually a skirt that comes down like a very long flowing wedding dress. And as he lands, you watch as some of the other band members sort of like reach out their feathers, almost as to hold this individual as he's about to land. And he lands at the center. All of the fairies begin to clap like, yes, oh wow, oh he's arrived, oh look at him, oh he looks so gorgeous, oh my god, I can't believe we're witnessing Rito in the flesh. And just a lot of people are just very excited. And as soon as he lands, he just, now how we doing tonight, everyone? All right, we just arrived. Bit of a long journey, don't worry, we'll have a nice, incredible, and memorable show for every single one of you on this evening. He turns around and looks at the fairies and he goes, did you find the backup? Yeah, we got this one right over here. And they all sort of now, in their towering height, look to you, Pond.
Hi.
What's your name?
Hello, sir. I'm Pond.
You play this here instrument right there?
Yes.
Are you good at it?
Yes.
I don't believe you, but let's see.
Okay.
Don't pay too much attention to him. Rito's a bit of a bit of a character.
That's okay. I've heard myself described the same way.
Rito gets ushered off, and then from the inside you hear,
Me.
Mikilias then descends, and he lands in the center of the same space. How we feeling tonight, everybody? We excited tonight? Pie Me Up is upon us.
Yeah, woo, let's go.
Party up!
Bark.
All right, now the rules are simple. We are gonna get ourselves in this here table right down here, and we're gonna try to see who amongst all of you, including our esteemed and newer guest, who will consume the most pie. Now, I gotta tell you, the recipes they cooked up this evening are simply to die for. Make you see things you ain't never seen before, am I right? And everybody begins to cheer. It's probably incredibly dangerous, but so is the way of fairies, am I right? All right, now, all participants, let's make sure to get on that table, all right? and you watch as a good majority of fairies begin to get up. Who's competing?
Me.
I think I'd like to join you up there, Cheese, just to give it a shot.
Yes.
Quinn?
I will do it. Fine, I'll do
There you
it.
go. Put some adventure in you. Let's go.
You're not on the clock anymore.
I'm always on the clock, cheese.
So you guys make your way over to the table, which at this point now you're sort of seeing that there are a lot of individuals that are sitting on one side, but as more individuals come up, they end up having to place chairs on the opposite side, as it's just sort of like filling up. There's a lot of people that want to compete. Mikilias says, all right, now I know some of y'all, you're not gonna be holding down this pie, so we appreciate it, but please, let's go ahead and get up. You know who you are. And you watch some of the fairies get up, and then like some younger ones are like, oh man, and they just sort of get up and move. And he goes, all right, there's always next year, and he's like rubbing their heads as they're passing by.
Quinn is gonna look over at Fiffin and try and start to get up, just really slowly.
Listen, I'm not gonna hold you back. I'm not gonna force you to do something that you don't want to do. If the pie is too much,
I need you to convince me to do it. I need to do it, and I need you to convince me to do it.
it's gonna be tasty. It's gonna be fun, potentially. Gonna be dangerous, potentially.
I need you to give me one more good reason, Fiffin.
How about one of each?
I'll take it.
Okay. Good reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more numbers we have, the better chances we have of winning, the better chances we get our stuff back.
True.
The bad news, shit could go south real quick. A sober cop would be very helpful.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I just didn't. Okay, I'm gonna go.
On the other hand, Quinn, I wag my tail and I give you puppy dog eyes. I'm gonna cast Best Friend, which is a dog thing. And it's basically, it's Charm Person. So you gotta make a charisma save.
You!
I've only cast spells on us.
Oh, a charisma save, you say?
It's gotta beat a 9.
Well, that is a 18.
Damn.
Cheese, I will take you on a walk later, after the competition, okay?
I almost jump out of my seat.
Gotta work off that pie.
I'm gonna put some in a doggy bag for you.
Thank you. I'll eat it on our walk.
You have to stop saying it. I feel it just as intensely every time.
What about WALK?
What does that mean?
All right. Okay. I'll be over there. Okay? All right. Okay.
Make sure Pond's okay.
I will! Quinn's gonna go sit back at the table and order a water. With lemon.
It's nice having Mom around.
Sure. I know.
Yeah.
You get like a green drink with what looks kind of like a pomegranate on top.
Just a whole ass pomegranate.
I feel like it just slammed on the rim.
Yeah, like with a lemon
Mikilias steps up. All right, we have our competitors. Thank you all for coming out. We hope you enjoy this. And remember, the first place winner receives the highest reward on our pile of rewards right over here. The second winner gets the lower tier, and the third winner, well, the third winner gets a complimentary pie to take home and at least one of the gifts upon this here pile. At this point, Rito comes out. You like hear almost like trumpets play. And Rito presents himself in sort of elaborate and beautiful white feathers that shine in the light now. Everyone, thank you so much for coming out on this evening. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you. And he's pointing to all of these different individuals that all begin to sort of swoon as he points over at just a little fairy-like kid that goes, my mom talks about you.
Hey, yo, chill.
As he steps up, you see as from behind him, he takes what looks like a accordion, swings it around like he's swinging around a guitar, and he pops it up and he looks over to the band and he goes, are we ready? And the band sort of looks and then looks to you, Pond, and he goes, are you ready?
I'm ready, and I hold up the lyre.
All right. And he looks over at Mikilias and he goes, whenever you are, sir. And Mikilias, he turns around and he goes, all right, everyone, present the pies. And you watch as all of these fairies sort of come up and they just lay in front of you a smattering of different pies of different sizes, shapes, some that just seem very, very thin, almost like as thin as a pancake, but then others that seem like a cartoon pie, if you will, that just sort of like burst at the seams. But they're all in these like purple-ish platters. Then without further ado, everyone, pie me up! So with that, I need Fiffin and Cheese. You're reaching for pies. I need you guys to roll a D100 for me. Pawn, I need you to give me a performance check.
26.
The music begins to pick up, and they're just sort of playing along, and you find the notes, and you start following the picking pattern, and you start strumming along, you start going for it.
66.
20.
Okay, let's begin with Cheese. How is Cheese eating the pie? Like, are you on a chair, are your back feet's on the chair, and then your front feet's on the table, and then you're just going to town?
Yeah, I think he tried to be full on the table, but I don't think anyone would actually let him just be on the table on his own. And so they compromised hind legs on the bench, front paws, probably in the pie tin as he's trying to eat, just scarf this whole thing down.
As you begin to eat and you're sort of like working it down, tastes very delicious. A lot of sort of like sweet flavors that sort of hit you every now and then with like a harsh tone, but nothing that you wouldn't bat an eye about. But all of a sudden you notice that your right paw begins to hover, and Mikilias goes, "You have a question." Your paw is just rising up.
No, I think this is just a part of it. Don't let me get away.
I can't control that. And then what did you roll, Fiffin?
A 66.
You're eating the pie, and it's very delicious. It's very, very good. And how are you eating the pie? Let me ask you that.
Kind of just shovel hands, one after another, just right in.
You're shoveling up what looks like a pinkish kind of pie. It's essentially almost all just like puree of fruits. And you're eating it, but as you begin to eat it, it's so good, it's so delicious. And then you start chewing, and then you look down at the pie, and it looks like insects are crawling out of it.
Ah!
And then there's like bugs and critters that begin to take the space, and the pink form of that puree begins to take shape into bugs, hundreds of pink bugs. Do you keep eating it?
Yeah, I feel like Fiffin's probably eaten some grosser stuff in the past, so it phases him a little bit, but it maybe just slow it down a notch to try to bite through the bugs.
Mikilias, he goes, great beginnings, and leave it up for the band. You guys look over, I'll say more for you, Quinn. You look over, you see Pawn just playing along with his lyre. Rito every now and then sort of like looks over and he goes, all right, not bad. And he's just still playing along. What are you doing, Quinn?
Quinn is watching Mikilias very intensely. She's got her monocle on. She's seen his layers, right? So she's trying to see if she can see any of those here, right? If any of his front drops here for any reason. She's never seen Pond really rock out like this before and is very enthralled by it. The feathers at the top of her head kind of like just a little bit when he's like getting down on it. And then of course checking in on her friends at the table, making sure that, you know, if she sees this and is like, if I need to fly to catch cheese, I shall. She's just ready for it.
It just looks like one paw that's just like doesn't know what it's doing and it's just sort of rising up.
I look at Quinn and I give her kind of a shitty grin, like, aren't you sad you're missing out on all of this?
2 feathers up, buddy.
Okay, that is round 1. Success for everybody. Make those rolls again, and then for you, Quinn, give me a perception check.
23 on that one.
86 for me.
29.
Let's begin with Fiffin this time. What are you wearing on you right now?
Right now, he has a simple green tunic, nothing too fancy on the top. There is a belt holding up a pair of scale mail leggings that he has fastened for himself. They kind of act as like a jump enhancer almost.
What would you say is Fiffin's personal passion?
Personal passion?
What a question.
This is a very interesting D100 chart you've got.
Very, very interesting.
This is just therapy.
I'll give you 2 options.
Sure.
Tinkering as a whole, because he loves just engineering and reverse engineering things that he comes across, or pranking.
As you're eating the pie, you get over the bugs and you move on to the next one. It tastes very, very good, but as you're eating, you're thinking about tinkering, you're thinking about pranking, you're like, And I really love that stuff. That fills your heart with love and passion, and you feel Fiffin has horns.
Yes, he has 2 horns that curl from like the top that come down, almost like ram horns, and there's a set of goggles sitting just underneath.
The horns themselves, they sort of begin to kind of glow a little bit, and then that glow kind of shimmers down to your tunic, and like a patch in the back of your tunic, it says, "Fixin' to Prankin'." And it's just you like holding 2 pies. One is very cartoony. One is like a pie with like a bomb in it, and then the other one is like an actual pie, and it's just like that is on the back of your tunic.
Did I just get bumper stickered?
You got bumper stickered. Cheese, you rolled an 86.
Yes, sir.
As you're eating, roll a d4 for me.
3.
You're eating, and Fiffin, you're kind of sort of noticing cheese next to you. Quinn, you're taking note, and all of a sudden from cheese, another cheese emerges. And then another. And then another. There are now 3 clones of you all eating the same pie. One fairy looks up, horking down pie, and goes, "Hey, yo, Mikilias, that's not fair." It's the pie. So for the next 3 rounds, you double your pie intake.
Damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
buddy.
Quinn, what did you roll?
A 7.
Oh.
Mikilias seems to be very preoccupied with the contest as he's just reveling in the energy and the atmosphere. You can't help but honestly get more distracted by Pond, as Pond with the 23, you're killing it. Rito even looks to you and he sort of like does that thing where he makes eye contact with you and you're both sort of jamming out to the same tune and music. And he looks back and he goes, "I like this one." Go ahead and give me another roll.
17.
Quinn, what are you doing? I'll say that you wouldn't be able to do another perception check, but what are you doing in this round?
This round, I would like to see if I can find Theric in the crowd.
Fairly easy. He is kind of standing by the main table, clapping along, seeing everybody have a good time. But yeah, he is essentially on the right side of the table. Okay, sorry. So now we'll begin with Pond.
Pond is going to ask to the side with Rito, like, "Hey, can I take the lead on this one?" Because he's like seeing like he's getting the recognition from Rito and he's seeing Quinn enjoying it and just having a good time and he's really feeling it. So he wants to like take the lead.
As he's playing, he looks over to you and goes, "What's your stage name, boy?"
Lake.
And where are you from?
The woods. Oh God, I don't know. I wasn't prepared for this.
All right, now presenting from the woods. Let me get a round of applause for Lake. Cheese.
37.
As you're eating the pie and you're sort of like looking at your other clones, your paw comes down. One of the clones just hardens like a rock. And then you watch as another. So you are down 2 of your 3 clones.
My brothers.
We were just getting to know them.
Fiffin,
78.
you're eating the pie. Very good. You're staying on top of it. 3rd one, let's go. And all of a sudden, you grow, double your size. And then you crash on the chair. The audience goes wild. And you're sort of holding the pie. Mikilias walks up to you and he goes, "You doing all right there?"
I'll pay for it. Don't worry. Just let me get through this.
What are you doing, Quinn, now that you can see Theric?
Quinn is gonna walk behind him, like she's just passing by him. Whisper as she passes by him, "Zymus." I want to see his reaction.
Ooh.
Give me a stealth check.
Oh! That's a 19 on the dice, plus 7,
Hell yeah.
Goddamn.
Nice.
for 26.
Easily sort of like gather up. He's kind of in between a couple of people and you find an opening where he just kind of like stands by himself.
What do you know of Zymus?
Theric just freezes and then turns around immediately to you, wide eyes. Say it again. So I need all of you guys to go ahead and give me rolls as you now have the attention of Theric.
Where did you find the child, Theric?
You might want to go talk to Mikilias about this stuff. I tend to not bother myself with those thoughts anymore. They're a little hard for me to get to. I've seen that child before, but I don't remember much. I just remember being in the forest, and then I just saw it right there.
Theric? Right here.
They gonna get me. They're gonna do some bad things to me again if I tell you. What did you guys roll?
47.
Fiffin?
24, but I would like to cast Identify on the pie that I'm currently chomping on to see if I can get an idea of how the ingredients would mix together to see if it's a beneficial pie. And if it's not, swap it with the person across from me and grab one of their pies. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll begin with Fiffin.
I hold up the bark gauntlet, and there's the bright green gem on the wrist. Almost like it's a mirror through the other side, like a glass. I kind of X-ray vision my hand over the pie just to see what's mixed on in there, to see if I can gather anything.
You take that moment and you sort of like pass your hand over it, and all of the different pies like within essentially almost look like what could probably be described as just like neutron star collisions. There's just a smattering of energy that are just sort of clashing together and exploding, and then in some cases you see like bugs crawl out of the pie. In other cases you see what look like fruit that just sort of reveals itself, the crust sort of darkening in certain parts. But in the pie that you're holding in front of you, you look at it and it sort of seems pretty normal, apart from this slight trace of a familiar liquid that you've experimented with before. It seems like it's probably good for you.
Sensing the little chemical structure in there, we're going right in.
Roll a d4 for me.
3.
For the next 3 minutes, you have 4 temporary hit points.
Whoa, okay.
Cheese, what did you roll?
47.
You're eating the pie, you're clearly ahead, it's just you and your other clone, and all of a sudden you notice that as you're eating, your paws are like stuck to the table. And it's okay because you're just essentially eating with your mouth as a dog does, but your paws, you can't move them, they're like stuck very harshly to the table. For this round, it makes it a little bit harder to eat the pie as you find almost like your skin almost like being glued to the table.
As long as my mouth is free.
Yeah, your mouth is totally free. And then Pond.
29.
You're still in the lead on this one. You're playing away, and now you watch as a couple of individuals become out to the center and they begin to dance around. Again, Rito's turned around, he's facing the band, they're letting you have your moment with great success.
Pond's just jamming, like he's in the prime of his life right now.
It looks like at this point, there's definitely a couple of fairies that are beginning to sort of like step aside as some of them are like holding themselves, and you watch as their stomachs just, they like blossom out. Whoa, and Mikilias goes, "You're out, get out of here." And as the one fairy just sort of like stands there, begins to float up as another fairy sort of catches its leg and brings it around the table. You watch as other fairies, they're sort of consuming the pies as well. And instead of throwing up, you watch as their ears sort of like release what looks like confetti. And Mikilias goes, "That's disgusting, get out of the table."
The body horror has begun.
It looks like at this point, it's Fiffin and Cheese still in the race. Cheese, you're leading. You were supposed to have 7 pies now, but because you lost your 2 dogs, just take away 2 pies. So you're at 5 leading, where Fiffin, you're still at 3 pies. You guys do the rolls again, and then Quinn, tell me what you're doing.
Who's going to get you, Theric?
The creature, the omen's gonna get me. Omen's gonna get me. Zymus is gonna get me. What's your passive perception?
13.
You could swear you hear, "Hey-ho." Pond, what did you roll?
I got a 29 on this one.
So what are you doing? Flavor it up for me.
In the midst of Pond, like literally hopping around the stage, like doing like full height jumps, like flips whenever he can. In the middle of it, casting Hypnotic Pattern. Not to like trick anyone or anything, just to make like a light show and kind of make small like fireworks like pop out that will like swirl around and fly away like little dragons and fireflies and dragonflies and all the different things that are just popping around and like floating around people while they're eating pies and dancing and stuff like that. Really just making it a spectacle.
You begin to display the show. One by one, you just see a group of individuals that just focus in on you. Mama, look at me. Look at that show. Look at what that look at that lake is doing. What did you 2 roll?
A little old 2.
Wow.
You know, I'm right there with you. I rolled a 9.
Nice.
You both got under 10 on a D100? That's crazy.
Oh, man.
Okay, we'll begin with you, Cheese. You're eating the pie, still getting ahead, definitely beating out everyone. And as you're eating it, you sort of like look up and all of the decoration, pie me up. Can Cheese read?
No. He's wise. He's not smart.
You begin to get a little confused. You're sort of wondering like, why am I here? What am I doing? This is very good, but pie me up. You're essentially confused for this round. You do not get to eat this pie. Fiffin. Pond is just jumping around, creating a spectacle. Quinn is creating trauma off in the distance. And just as you're sort of focusing and looking at your pie, you take one bite, and as you do, you hear, ribbit, as you turn into a frog.
Hey.
Oh.
Yo.
And Mikilias goes, hold on, that's not sanitary. You're out.
No.
Roll a d4 for me.
3.
For the next 3 minutes, you are a frog still.
Man, all right. Since I can't eat anymore, I'm going to go hop up and I'm going to hop around the dance floor in circles, cheering on Lake.
Quinn.
I just want to get him out of this. If he's getting the attention of something, I want to stop this, right? I'll soothe, right? Like, okay, I get it, I know. Okay, you're fine, you're okay. See, look, Mikilias is right over there, and I'm gonna bring him back to kind of the party. Hey, forget about your trauma, let's party. Like, I'll grab a drink from the nearest table and put it in his hand, and if I can, I'm gonna try and make aggressive eye contact with Mikilias.
You sort of like look at him and there is a wild searching for the answers. Just before he's beginning to like have a breakdown, you grab a drink, slap it on his hand. He takes it and goes, oh, thank you. This is one of my favorites. And he just chug it down as you look over to Mikilias, who looks back at you and nods you like, everything all right? Now, in this round, so Pond, you are playing away, essentially killing it. You've killed it for the rest of the night. At this point, there is only 2 individuals left on the table with Cheese. One fairy that looks sort of like roided up fairy, just incredibly jacked, eating with what looks like essentially like a spoon, looking at Cheese every time it scoops up pie towards its mouth. And then you see another one sort of like a little bit younger, frail, kind of like looking, it looks like a woman, horking it down as well. No beat to her eyes, but you're all 3 sort of engaged in this moment. Pond, give me one final performance check with advantage. Fiffin, what are you doing?
Can I cast a spell?
You can cast a spell, but I want you to give me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, what if I want to stay as a frog on purpose?
You're good. I mean, you're still, you got some time that you're still a frog. This is for something else.
Oh, gross. 15.
You're able to hold it down. Whatever you choose to do, you can. Pond.
I rolled a 28.
For the entire rest of this moment, everyone is fixed on you to the point where Rito comes up. Hey man, you ever thought about this show business thing? Cause you really got some talent.
Thanks. Today's my first day.
What? Cut back to Cheese.
Okay, here we go. I got a 92.
Roll a d4 for me.
2.
As you're eating the pie, you're feeling very, very good. And you're feeling great. You're sort of like locked in. Your paws are not as sticky anymore as you're sort of like meeting the gaze of these 2 other fairies that are meeting the gaze with you. You watch as the sort of like heavier one takes a bite of the pie and then just brings it out and the pie begins to melt in his hand. It's hot! It's real hot! And he just kind of gets up and Mikilias goes, you're out! And it's just you and the other one as you're eating your pie. The fairy woman, she looks to you and she goes, this is surely a great competition. It was really great to eat this with you as a fellow competitor. The pie begins to come out and reform itself into the pieces.
Ew.
Oh.
And she's like, oh goodness. And then Mikilias goes, you know I don't like that. Get it out of here. And then Cheese, in that moment, you finish up the pie. And as you do, you're resistant to necrotic damage for the next 2 hours.
All right.
Oh.
We have ourselves a winner, everyone. This little one right over here, Cheese. Cheese, where are you from?
Town?
Cheese from town. Everyone begins to explode in just an absolute joy. You hear the clapping and everyone is just very joyously happening. What spell were you casting, Fiffin?
From under the polymorph-ish effect, the green gem glows on the wrist even though it's not there, so just a green light comes from the wrist. Fiffin is casting enlarge on himself so he can be the same size as Pond, and he does like the little dance. And then I want to see if I can give him a hug because I'm a frog now. Celebratory hug.
You head on over in the direction of Pond. As Pond, you're sort of still in the moment. Everyone around you starts cheering, Lake, 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 Lake. Rito comes up and he looks over to you and he kind of like presents you. You take that moment to sort of like let go of your instrument just as Fiffin comes up and hugs you.
Ribbit.
Did Pond even know that Fiffin turned?
True, actually, very true. So just some fan.
Pond is like, who is this guy?
Just some other frog.
The only other frog here is like enamored with you and jumps up and gives you a hug Elvis style. Wants to pull you down into the crowd, but you don't know it's Fiffin actually. So to a degree, we'll say that you're resistant. You're probably completely immune to poison, right?
I am, yeah.
For the sake of this, we'll say that this frog is also immune to poison.
Oh.
Fiffin, yeah, you're holding on to Pond. Mikilias goes, great job, everyone. Thank you so much. You hear the clapping continue. You hear from the distance. Good job, everyone. Absolutely delightful. As Hee-Haw is holding on to a branch, holding on to the carriage. And as he holds on to it, he goes, it's been a pleasure. Enjoy your pie. And for today, that's a wrap.
Oh, there's no way he could take the cab.
No.
Fry up that bird.
It's locked. He can't get it, right?
It's locked. He doesn't know its name.
Thank you all so much for listening. Catch us in 2 weeks where I don't even know where this kind of goes. Catch us in 2 weeks where we'll see if Cheese can keep his pie down.
This is a emotional roller coaster for Pond because he went from like intense joy to a little bit of panic to like, oh my God, a hug, and now baby gone. It's just like big zigzags.